in this practical, we are going to study about different methods of vegetative propagation. And this vegetative propagation can be listed as follows. The first one is the vegetative propagation by means of tubers. By means of tubers. And this type of tuber, it is usually observed in one member of angiosperms, that is Solanaceae family. And here, this is the tuber, and this tuber is called a stem tuber. And these stem tubers, look here, these stem tubers, they are called stem tubers because these are the branches which develop at the lower portion of the stem of Solanum tuberosum. And those branches, they go into the soil, and the terminal portion that swells in the form of a tube-like structure. Therefore, it is called a tuber, stem tuber. To look at the development here, this is the plant and this is the soil surface. These branches directly go into the soil, the lower branches, and the terminal portion swells in the form of a tube-like structure. Is it clear? And this tube-like structure, it is referred as a stem tuber because if you observe carefully these tubers, a potato tuber, you can find some spots. These spots are referred as eye spots, and these eye spots are usually the nodal regions. For example, this is one potato tuber, and in this tuber, you can see the eye spots like this. And these eye spots are nothing but the nodal regions, just like the stem. And the distance between these two nodal regions is called an internode. If the potato in your kitchen is left unused for several days, you might have seen those potato tubers develop small buds in these regions. Am I right? And these buds later on develop into a new individual plant. Now what you have to do is, here in this practical, is simply you cut open this small portion with this eye spot and put that eye spot, potato tuber piece with the eye spot in the soil, and you have to examine after 15 days. If you observe after 15 days, if this small portion is kept in the soil, after 15, this small portion that develops in the form of one small plant. And afterwards it becomes mature, and that develops the branches like this, and the terminal portion of the branch thus swells or develops in the form of a tube. So this is first type of vegetative propagation with the help of tubers. There may be any number of eye spots, and all these eye spots, they are removed with the help of a scalpel or blade or any sharp instrument, and that is kept in soil, and that develops into one new plant. This is one type of vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation is the propagation by means of bulb. Usually there are two types of bulbs, underground modification. Usually in case of Liliaceae family, one is Allium cepa, that is onion, and this onion is referred as a concentric bulb. Whereas garlic, Allium sativa, of the same family, this is tuniculated bulb. And if you observe this garlic, these leaves with a fleshy leaf bases, they appear like this. You can remove and separate all these individual units like this. And the method of vegetative propagation is very simple. Here in case of tunicated part, that all these leaf bases, they are carefully separated, and that is kept in the soil. Within 15 to 20 days, all these leaf bases, they develop roots and is developed into a new plant. So this is second type of vegetative propagation with the help of bulb. In the same way, onion. Usually this onion is cultivated by collecting the seeds at the end of the season. Umbel type of inflorescence develops, a simple umbel type of inflorescence that sets flower, and after pollination the seeds are set, and the farmers, they collect these seeds and they secure it for next season. When the next rainy season comes, automatically these seeds are sown in the soil and they will get a new crop. But here in the practical, if you take one small onion bulb and if you cut it into 4 quarters longitudinally and put that in the soil, within 15 days those plants develop automatically. You know why it happens? In case of onion, the stem is highly compressed. This is the stem. You might have seen onion. This is the compact stem, disc-like stem, and on this disc, all these leaves, they are arranged like this. If you cut this onion longitudinally, you will make it out, right? And when you cut this into 4 parts, first one and the second one, this becomes 1 quarter. And this portion, if it is magnified, it appears like this. You see here, the small portion, it is now magnified. All these are the leaves, and you know usually leaves develop at the nodal regions, right? The angle between the stem and the leaf is called axil. In all these axils, we can see the development of axillary bud, and this axillary bud develops into one new plant. And it is a very, very simple experiment which you can do in your home. So this is about vegetative propagation with the help of bulb. Third one is rhizome. It is rhizome because this rhizome is growing horizontally in the soil. This is called horizontal rhizome. At the same time, there is one vertical rhizome also. Vertical rhizome that is seen in Colocasia, Aeraceae family. Colocasia. In this Colocasia, if you observe this rhizome, it's a vertical rhizome, and this vertical rhizome shows nodes and internodes like this, and at the axil of each node, we can see this development of axillary buds, and these axillary buds, if you cut this vertical rhizome into pieces, each and every piece can develop into a new plant. But this is ginger of Gingiveraceae family. Gingiber officinale, botanical name, and this ginger is underground rhizome, and in this underground rhizome we can see profuse branches, and all these branches, you see here, all these branches, they have got terminal bud. All these branches have got terminal bud at their terminal position, and if you cut this rhizome into several pieces and if you put these pieces into soil, each and every piece of rhizome will develop into new plant. This is the third method of vegetative propagation, the natural method of propagation. And the fourth one is the vegetative propagation with the help of a runner. So this is oxalis plant, a family of Oxalidaceae, and you can see here, these are the plants which are growing horizontally on the soil. When the plants are growing horizontally in the soil, the plant propagates with the help of a runner. Runner means some branches, they run parallel on the soil, and at the nodal region they get the connection with the soil and adventitious roots develop. You can see the adventitious roots are very clearly here. And if you cut these small pieces and put those pieces in the soil, within 10 days, all these plants develop into an individual plant. So same type of runner, when it is present in aquatic plants, for example, Pistia, water rose, nirgulabi, Pistia. In that Pistia, the same type of runner can be observed, but when the runner is present in aquatic plants, that runner is called offset, O-F-F-S-E-T, offset. So all these are for aerial modifications, subaerial modifications, whereas this is the underground modification. And we have got another plant here of Cannaceae family, Canna species, banana family. Here we can see here, this is the corm, same in case of plantain tree. In banana, the stem is rhizome, a solid bulb, and from the rhizome, number of lateral buds develop, and these lateral buds develop, and they grow sometime in water, soil, and after that, those buds they come out from the soil surface. I mean, if this is the main plant, these branches develop in the soil, they travel sometimes in the soil, and they come out in the form of one new plant. You might have seen in banana fields, one plant at its base develops 4 or 5 small banana plantlets. And those small banana plantlets which develop at the base, they are called suckers. In case of Asteraceae family, there is one member that is called chrysanthemum. Sevanthi, chrysanthemum. In this chrysanthemum also, same is the case. This is the main stem. Main stem develops branches, and the branches come out in the form of new plant. At this position, the branch develops number of roots, and if you cut this portion here and put this plant in some places in the soil, this develops into one new plant. In the same way here, these are the suckers. This is the mother plant. At the base, on either side it develops 2 suckers, and if you remove these suckers and put these suckers in the soil, you will get 2 new plants. Did you get the idea here? This is called a sucker, a natural method of vegetative propagation. And now come to the last method of vegetative propagation, that is aerial method of vegetative propagation, that is observed usually in this plant, bryophyllum, where the leaf acts as the vegetatively propagating structure. If you put this leaf in the soil, from all these marginal regions where you get the notches, these are the notches, at each and every notch, you will get one new miniature plant. And if you cut the leaf piece and put this leaf piece in the soil, you will get a brand new plant. So this is a very affordable method to propagate this bryophyllum on large scale. Usually in nature, if you leave it untouched, all these leaves, they fall in the soil, and whenever the leaf falls, from the notches, new buds develop, and the buds develop into a new plant. So these are different types of vegetative, natural vegetative propagations.